Hey there, Fearless Gamers, and welcome to the Fearless Games Podcast. This is the Stark Lord, and with me today are...
Matt the Clown,
James the Wildcard,
and Matt the Vet.
Well, hey guys, how's it going?
not bad.
Pretty good.
How's it going with you?
Just dandy. So what do you guys want to talk about today?
Well, first we should make the big note here. This is the first podcast where all four of us are together.
That's
It's true. That's
Very true.
It actually feels wrong.
By our powers combined, we are a four-person podcast.
I'm gonna punch you next time I see you.
You should.
And so, James, you had some interesting thing that you told me before. You went and you saw a movie this weekend.
Yeah, I
movie?
went and saw I did this for the community at large. I saw Hansel and Gretel.
So did I!
That.
Robin and I saw that last night.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, I almost saw that last night. How was it?
It
was
first off,
fun.
it was made by MTV Video.
Really?
What?
MTV movie was
That's how you know you're getting a quality product.
yeah.
Like, so is it exactly what I thought it was, and just like a ridiculous, like, fantasy action adventure jokeness fest?
Yes, and let me tell you.
Here's the best indicator of how the tone of the film was. Stark Lord,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think Hansel's big weakness was?
Sugar.
Wait, how so, though?
He can't stop eating cookies.
You're close. He had diabetes.
Yes, he did. Well, let's not say anything more. Let's not ruin the movie anymore. That was kind of a big funny thing. Let's just say, those witches, man, those witches. It's not the witches I grew up reading about.
Nope.
These are Super Saiyan witches, basically.
Really were. Dude, it was like if Super Saiyans had crawled out of a Sam Raimi film.
Yes.
Like, they were very Evil Dead, especially like the Big Evil Witch.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. It was a fun movie.
Oh,
That sounds ridiculous.
yeah, like it was like Evil Dead meets Van Helsing meets
Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z meets Underworld meets all those ridiculous movies. Like, I think the only thing that really bothered me about the film was there was one weapon that was the ballinest weapon of all time, and it only gets used for like 2 seconds in a very brief shot.
I think I know what you're talking about, and that was an awesome weapon, and I wish I saw more of it.
The Castlevania weapon.
Yeah.
But
But,
like a chain whip?
Yeah, basically.
yeah.
Cool.
I saw that and I was like, oh my god, Simon Belmont!
Yeah, that was in the coming attractions, so that's where I saw it there, and then I'm like, oh, they got a chain whip, awesome. Then that was it, and that was literally...
Once.
Yeah.
That was a great scene, but
the best thing I can say is I didn't know. I saw the coming attractions, but then I don't pay attention to them, so I didn't know the movie was rated R. So I was surprised that when they dropped some F-bombs and all the gore that was in the movie, and I was like, oh, it's R. I get it now. Okay, I was like, wow, what is this rated?
they dropped some serious F and S bombs like all throughout the movie. Famke Janssen, I would like to note, Famke Janssen was also definitely phoning it in the whole time, which only made it funnier.
Yeah.
You know,
I
people
really
say
was-
that about her a lot. I mean, maybe that's true in that
She
one, but they
doesn't-
always like she doesn't act well. I can't agree because I haven't seen it, but like everyone always like, I don't like her acting, and I'm like, okay.
Well, people don't like her acting because a lot of the movies she's in, she just phones it in.
Yeah.
She doesn't put a lot of effort into it.
See, I don't know if she was phoning it in or if she was just high throughout the entire thing.
But it's the same thing. All I know is I was really I am a little disappointed that there was no point that she looked at Hansel and Gretel and went, "I'll swallow your soul," because she looks just like the demon possessed chick from Evil Dead. I'm not even joking. It
Wow.
looks
Way to
like her.
ruin that movie for me. Now I know what she's gonna look like.
It's the coming attractions to see her.
Speaking
They made Famke Janssen only a little bit uglier.
Speaking of that, have you heard what they're doing with the new Evil Dead movie now?
Yes, I have.
I haven't heard a thing about it except that they're doing another one.
There's this thing called the Red Band trailer. It's on their website, and if you go and you watch it, and you have a webcam on, once you click the video, the webcam is enabled, and it records your reactions to the trailer, because they throw in a lot of the gore that's in the film. and then that video is saved to a website so other people can watch your reaction to watching the trailer.
That's a little dumb.
I get it. It's in the same vein as the Your Mom Hates Dead Space 2 commercials.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it works better for Evil Dead than it did for Dead Space 2, just because Dead Space 2 like hit on some very sensitive notes for the industry at the time. Whereas this is like, you know, it's a grindhouse movie, yay. But I will say the thing that seems to be the most divisive about the new Evil Dead movie is that Ash is a girl.
Really?
Yes, Ash is.
I didn't know that.
I'm like 99% certain that it's confirmed that Ash is a girl. I don't mind it, but it's very different.
Yeah, I mean, they can really do whatever they want with Evil Dead. It's just about Evil Dead and shooting them.
And according to an interview when they asked, one group asked Bruce Campbell if he was going to be in it, and he said, no, I'm not, I'm getting too old for these things, but I might make a little appearance. So
he's probably like the sheriff or something.
We may see at least a cameo of Campbell in the film.
Yeah, I mean, he does cameo work a lot, so...
Yeah, he's in all the Spider-Man movies.
Is he in the newest one? Because I didn't actually see
No,
it.
he wasn't in the newest one.
I was about to say.
It's a shame.
He only appears in anything that Sam Raimi does, except for he was not in Drag Me to Hell.
Are you sure?
Drag Me to Hell was good, though.
Drag Me to Hell was good. I don't get why everyone hates it, but it's like the only Sam Raimi film I've seen so far that he does not make a cameo.
Well,
I laughed through that entire movie.
It was so good, dude.
It was
funny.
so good.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
The goat scene is just like, what?
The goat scene's ridiculous.
And it is the exact... You'll have the exact same reaction to Hansel and Gretel, and you will be laughing through the whole film.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Robin and I were sitting there, just like every so often we'd look at each other and be like, "Is this actually happening on the screen?" But not in a "we need to leave" kind of way. Like it was like what is even going on? It was like Kamen Rider Kabuto. Eventually, you're like, "What the hell?"
Okay, Matt. The only people that get that are me and you.
I know.
Or maybe some people maybe some people who listen to the podcast understand what you're talking about.
Don't watch Kabuto. Don't watch Kabuto.
Okay.
Don't watch
Everybody
Kabuto.
who is listening to this podcast, prove the Stark Lord wrong and tell us if you watch it or not.
Even if you don't, just go onto a wiki and type something that makes you sound like you know what you're talking about. Prove him wrong.
Yeah, just to make him feel bad.
Yeah. Just say the attack is the greatest and we'll believe you.
Oh, since we're discussing films so thoroughly right now, did you guys hear the rumor about Star Wars Episode 7?
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams, indeed. How do you gentlemen feel about that?
I'm not upset. I mean, I like Star Trek. I liked a lot of his movies, so I'm just waiting for all the memes of pictures of Luke Skywalker with lens flares all over his lightsaber.
Yeah, I was going to say it's going to be a lot of lens flare. Personally, I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh my god, exciting," and I'm like, you can't say it's exciting just based on the director. I mean, they pick a good director, that's great. Let's wait until we actually get some information.
At least we'll have. The thing is, all I can really say to it is, at least we'll have a director that actually directs.
Yeah.
Instead of fat George Lucas sitting in a room looking at 3 screens.
Well, Lucas also is right now, so far, he's the creative consultant, and he's writing the characters.
That's fine. He's done a great job being an executive producer and a writer.
No, he's not done a great job being a writer.
He's good at making characters.
Let me repeat that in a different way. I mean, he shouldn't be the only writer. He did a good job writing 4, 5, and 6. He wrote... And then after that, he got crappy because he didn't have anyone watching his back. And he did a good job writing a lot of the basic stuff for Willow.
Yeah.
Yes, I like Willow.
I will also disagree that he does a good job writing characters, because Jar Jar Binks.
Well, that's why you need someone to tell him that's a bad idea.
Yeah, the character was written well, it was just a bad idea.
Character.
Yeah. Like, the character was good, but that's in what he wanted, but it was just a bad thing to do. Like, there was no faults with Jar Jar Binks.
It was a very
really, except the fact that it's Jar Jar Binks.
It's very hard to find a character in a George Lucas film that's two-dimensional.
Like, Jar Jar Binks, if we're going to take him, the character evolved and it was good. But the problem was it was Jar Jar Binks, and somebody should have said, "Stop that! That's wrong."
What do you do? Save that for something else.
But they did.
I think one of the best indications with J.J. Abrams was his his video on J.J. Abrams being Star Wars.
Oh, that was funny, yeah.
Where he's like, I mean, it's not like the J.J. in his name stands for Jar Jar.
Oh, shit, what if it does?
And then at the whole end of it, he's like, where's George Lucas when you need him?
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
I don't
Red Letter Media did a good job with that, because when they did their Star Trek review, like, years ago, and they talk about how J.J. Abrams was great for Star Trek, and he should do Star Wars, and they actually took that clip out and reposted it recently. It's hilarious. They, like, dead on say why he was great for Star Trek and why he should do Star Wars, and now he's going to do Star Wars, probably.
Yeah, and you know what? When I heard that, it's fine, but I did say to the friend who told me, I said, I hope he doesn't Star Trek it up, meaning they have two very different feels as movies. And I don't want it to feel like Star Trek with Star Wars skin, you know what I mean? I want it to feel distinctly Star Wars. So as long as he applies whatever he does and keeps the Star Trek feel out of it, that'd be great. Because
Star Trek is a fun, well, the way he did it was a fun, action-y sci-fi. Star Wars is an action-y sci-fantasy and much more moral dilemma, and it's a very different concept. So as long as he takes into effect what's supposed to be, which I think he will. I mean, it's not like saying he did Star Trek and Cloverfield the same. They're completely different.
Right, exactly. I'm sure he will. I'm just, because they're of a similar a similar setting type of thing,
In that they're in space.
And, I would say Star Trek has got a much more, like a sanitary, sterile feel to the stuff, and Star Wars has got a much more kind of greediness to it. You look at the Millennium Falcon in comparison to the Enterprise, for example.
It's always very industrial and bumpy, and Star Trek is smooth.
So if they keep those two things, if they keep them separate, like that, like the feels, and he applies his ability he did with Star Trek, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. Then we just have to see if we get a good writer and see if it's good.
Well, the new writer is someone I've never heard of, and he didn't have that big of a filmography when I quickly checked, so I don't know.
So it'll be perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see, actually, here, let me pop it up right now.
That name.
First, while I look at this, James, you'll be happy to hear this. I've heard talk that in the new Man of Steel movie, Brainiac will be making an appearance.
That's good.
Now, is it an appearance, or is he the villain?
He's not the villain.
I think he's one of the villains.
Zod is the villain. I think that's
you can't have Zod and
technically
Morel.
Brainiac. Well, technically, depending on your variant, Brainiac was a Kryptonian computer, so technically he could be working with Zod.
Right, in a flashback. He could just be in a flashback.
Yeah, what would be good is if they kind of set up Brainiac in this film and then do him in a second one if this one's successful. Like, have him either be a background character or helping Zod or something.
Like Thanos in Avengers, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, spoilers.
Well, at this point...
If any of the fearless gamers out there have not seen Avengers by now, I don't care. You've been spoiled.
Dude, we already lost one subscriber. Don't make it lose the second
did he
one.
announce his departure?
Nobody know. I don't know who it was, but I did notice that after when we put up our last episode of Touching Base, we did lose one subscriber, but then we gained two.
You want to know the funny thing? That guy probably smells bad.
That's mean.
Okay.
You don't know that.
Listen, with the content of our last episode.
Have you watched our last episode, Starklord?
You weren't there for that.
Sorry that I haven't, no.
Okay, so I spent about 10 minutes talking about how gamers need to shower.
Wow. That's only true of 10%.
Okay. This guy who is writing Star Wars, his name is Michael Arndt. I pronounce his name wrong. It's A-R-N-D-T.
A-R-N-D-T?
Yes.
Okay.
He has wrote Addicted to Love. No, I'm sorry. He's wrote Little Miss Sunshine, Toy Story 3, Brave. He did the screenplay for Oblivion. He's doing the screenplay for The Hunger Games Catching Fire. He's apparently doing the screenplay for Phineas and Ferb and Star Wars Episode 8.
And an untitled Pixar movie that takes place inside your mind in 2015. Thank you, Wikipedia.
So he's done some good stuff in there.
Yeah,
Yes,
I mean,
he has.
Brave is a good movie. Little Miss Sunshine was good. Toy Story 3 I didn't see, but I heard it was good.
Toy Story 3 was very dramatic.
That's good.
I like dramatic.
Sorry. Continue.
I was just saying I like dramatic.
Yeah, what this means, though.
Yeah. What?
Randy Newman, Star Wars Episode 7. You got a friend in me.
No, he's gonna go.
That'd be amazing.
The stormtroopers, they come and shoot the lasers, but they need aiming practice.
Okay, speaking of Randy Newman, I don't know if I've ever had an in-depth conversation with you guys about Randy Newman, but his work pre the film industry is some of the most like racist and like kind of hateful crap I've ever heard. In that, one of his songs is literally called "Short People Got No Reason to Live."
Yes.
Wow, that makes me sad. I'm short. I don't like him anymore.
Got no reason. Short people got no reason to live. And then he also has a song about basically black people in the jungle.
He also wrote a song about basically dropping the atom bomb on everybody because they hate us anyhow.
Right, like his work outside of Toy Story is ridiculous.
He was also the writer. He was also the singer, writer of James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah, he also did.
Wow.
He did a musical too. He did the music for. Oh God, I'm gonna look it up.
Okay, and after looking it up on IMDb, Brainiac is not listed, but interesting enough, Luthor is not listed either.
Good. Let him have
only Zod.
Let him take a holiday.
Yeah, he's been in every single bloody Superman movie.
Which I'm sorry, but I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I thought Kevin Smith did. Who?
Spacey.
It was Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey
Kevin Smith was a better Luthor than Gene Hackman.
I think Kevin Spacey could have been a better Luthor if he was actually playing Luthor, but he was really just doing an impression of Gene Hackman the entire time.
Yes, and I thought that was 10 times better than Gene Hackman's performance.
Ooh, that's
sorry.
I don't think you can make them the same way because they're different time periods. You know, it's like that's the movie in the 70s, it's the movie now. I think both did great jobs, is what I'm going to say.
They're both good actors.
Yes, both are good actors. I just think that Luthor was a better role for Kevin Spacey.
I think they wrote a better Luthor for Kevin Spacey than him having a better Luthor.
I'm sorry, Cat.
Did you just kill a cat?
No, I stepped on her tail because she decided to walk right under me as I moved.
Oh my God! Stop stepping on cats. That's wrong.
Also, it was Three Amigos I was thinking of that Randy Newman did. He did
really?
Three Amigos. Yep.
That movie's awesome.
Oh yeah, I love Three Amigos. It's one of my favorites.
One of the best lyrics Randy Newman ever wrote. I forget the song it was, either about Vegas or about California or something like that. The lyric literally is, "Look at them trees."
Right. Look at them trees.
If that was about Vegas, I hope that was ironic, because aren't there no trees in Vegas?
Well, if you're on the Strip.
If you're on the Strip, there's all sorts of palm trees.
Yeah.
Okay, I was about to say, because there's the only part of Vegas that people talk about is the Strip, so I guess if there's palm trees, that counts.
But, best lyric in the industry.
It's called I Love L.A.
Yeah, I Love L.A., there you go.
Okay.
I love
LA doesn't have trees, LA just has smog.
Yeah, tree smog.
Yeah, there's smog trees.
Smog.
I love L.A., I love L.A., look at the mountains, look at those trees, Look at that bum over there, man, he's down on his knees, look at these women, there ain't nothing like 'em nowhere.
Keanu Reeves sing that song.
The reason I know as much about Randy Newman as I do is I took a ballads class in college. Because I needed credits and I didn't want to actually have to put effort in.
That's the dumbest sound of class. Good job.
It was actually pretty good. It's just that we spent a whole class period talking about Randy Newman, and I was like, wow, this guy's bad at music.
This guy is I love Randy Newman. I really do.
But he's not
He's no singer. He's no singer-songwriter.
Oh yes, he is.
He's hilarious.
Wasn't he? I think he was on Inside the Actor Studio.
Of course he was.
Was he? I'm looking at it.
Been on Inside the Actor Studio at this point.
Yeah, but I think he was there, because that's when I heard him sing on the TV, "Let's Drop the Big One Now."
That's funny.
I think it was Inside the Actor Studio, but it doesn't matter, because it's Randy Newman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he was, but I'm sure he was.
I'm pretty sure he was. Pretty sure he was. But that was back in 2006 or 7, and I don't know what rerun they were airing. So
Right.
But it was definitely after the Toy Story movie because that was a big part of it.
Yeah.
So that doesn't
Toy Story was
break
like
down.
kind of what made people say, "Oh, hey, Randy Newman's alive."
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's Randy Newman, and everybody who didn't know that should now be thankful you know this.
Yeah, that's important.
It's important knowledge for, those trivia games and such.
Yes, it's definitely true.
Which, speaking of, has anyone here even bothered to give the time of day to the show King of the Nerds?
No.
No. It actually looks offensive. I refuse.
Yeah, that's the thing. Every time I see a commercial for that show, I just get so infuriated. I just have to punch something, because I'm like, wow, I feel so insulted by this show's existence.
Well,
I
that's
don't
what we
feel
call nerd baiting, and I'm sure it works for some people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Rob and I actually talked about it last night very briefly, where she made the point that like 90% of reality TV is kind of offensive to one group or another. But that this one is one of the more broadly reaching ones, because it's like, the Real Housewives of blah 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 can be offensive to housewives because it's kind of pointed at housewives. Which is broadly reaching, but I get the feeling most housewives that aren't in X area aren't offended by show of X area.
Yeah. Or like Jersey Shore.
Right, but like this is nerd. Like, I mean,
Well, Jersey Shore should offend everybody. I don't know why people like that show.
Yeah, I don't know how
but
that's...
it's over.
Yeah.
But like King of the Nerds, like there are nerds worldwide. There are some housewives that are also nerds. Like there are nerds in every single other category.
And even some of the contestants on the show, I'm just like, what?
They handpicked the nerdiest, as it were.
Some of them even sound like they're going, okay, could you make yourself sound a little weirder?
Oh, I'm sure they
are.
I'm sure that's actually
like the
going
one,
on.
like the one girl who's like, I use my powers of the dark side. And I was like, please.
No, I've met people like that. You've met people like that too.
Yeah, we know
That is
people
true.
like
Yeah.
I don't want to
But
I have
the
people like
thing
that.
is, I'm not
Like, that's it.
I'm not
But-
100% convinced they aren't just like actors
Yeah.
It's true.
or
They
playing
could
it
be.
up.
They could
Like
be.
I don't take offense to the show at all. I just think it's kind of like, really, you TV is something this low. You're picking on the thing that nobody even wants to care about, which is the nerddom.
Well,
and
the
you're
thing
not going to
with-
sexify it. You're not going to make it popular. What everybody's going to go out and buy thick glasses? I mean, that aren't hipsters. I mean, what are you going to do?
Good point.
They should do the King of the Hipsters. Nobody be on that show because it'd be too mainstream.
It'd be Dustball.
My girlfriend just, Lena here, made an interesting note. She says they're making it so people can laugh at them.
Yeah. Well,
But they do that already.
one of the most popular shows on TV right now is Big Bang Theory. So it's like, how do we
That is a great show.
how do we capitalize?
I don't really like
on
that.
nerd- Really?
What?
I don't really like Big Bang Theory. I feel like it's pandering.
I think it's the one show that isn't pandering.
I enjoy it a lot. I like, I kind of see, there are a lot of episodes where I feel like it's just a giant Roseanne reunion, because half the cast is from the show Roseanne.
I know. You think they'd get Mark Rosewood around there once in a while.
And I just like some of the references they make, and I also kind of get a kick out of it, because sometimes they'll have like when Stan Lee was on the show, and he comes to the front door and he's like, yeah, what's up? And my mom's like, now, is that really Stan Lee? I'm like, yes, Mom, that's Stan Lee.
Nice.
And like when they were on the train and the girl who played River Tam
Yeah.
You mean
Summer
was
Glau?
in it. What?
Summer Glau.
Yeah.
Okay.
My mom's like, who is that? It's like, oh, she's this girl from this TV show Firefly. Like, I have to explain half the nerd references in the show.
Yeah, but see, it's a popular show, but it's clearly a show, and like the whole King of the Nerds thing, it just feels like it's just trying to latch onto it. That's like any reality type show is.
It's trying to take Big Bang Theory and say these people exist.
That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, that's a popular show. It's like, how do we capitalize on it more? Let's do a reality show.
Yeah, which is why I'm not 100% certain that it's not people on there aren't just acting because they need to feel a particular type.
They need a paycheck.
I would say it's entirely possible that they're just acting. I mean, they are also being compensated for being there.
Yeah, maybe some of them are actually nerdy, but I'm sure with most shows like that, you amp it up to 11. You know what I mean? Like, even if you are legitimately like something, you push it a little bit.
And it could also be like edited in such a way to make them look worse.
Oh yeah, of course. That's the magic of editing. But
Yeah.
one show I don't watch it.
Like, I could take this whole podcast and make you all sound like idiots.
You don't have to. It's
Well,
very,
we are
it's
kind of
happening.
idiots already.
It's just happening. It's natural. But I don't watch the show, but I really am glad the show exists. Is the Joe Schmo Show?
What's the Joe Schmo Show?
The Joe Schmo Show is a show where this one person thinks he's on a reality TV series, and everybody else are actors to make him think he is. And it's just
So
to the nth degree.
it's the Truman Show.
Yeah, basically. But the whole thing is
Hilarious.
they have to make sure that he doesn't find out. And like one time happened, he had to go to the hospital because he got like a bad cut in his nose. And like, okay, make sure he doesn't talk to anybody in the hospital. Don't let anybody know about this. And there's supposed to be a deaf mute girl on the show. And she was doing, and one of the commercials, she's acting like it, but she's doing like a handstand push-up thing. And he goes, wow, strong shoulders. And she responds to him. And they're like, oh no, what are we going to do? And it's just it's stuff like that. Like they have to make sure that he doesn't pick up that it's not a real reality show. But it does everything, like, you know, with the with having basically being immune to being evicted that night and stuff like that. It's just really funny that it's a show about a reality show, but it's not. And this guy thinks
So,
it's,
in a
That's
sense,
interesting.
it's making fun of reality
yes,
shows.
but it's great because it's got all the typecasts. It's got like the really annoying, really easily hostile, like attractive woman. It's got the
jerk.
It's got the jerk, the jock, the guy that you think might be gay but isn't gay, but is he gay? You got the guy who was an ex-bounty hunter. You got like the guy who's addicted to drugs, maybe, who knows? It's really funny, and they're all actors.
That's pretty funny.
That seems
hilarious.
interesting.
So
But
that's the way you do it.
it's nice to see something like that, you know, kind of basically pandering to the fact, like, you people are aware that there's way too many reality shows out there.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, they're cheap to make.
It is true.
They essentially write themselves,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and they're popular as hell. People watch them.
It's true.
Yeah.
I kind of wish we'd go back more to to game shows. I like game shows. That's why I like the Food Network personally, because it's kind of game showy but not, and it's kind of reality showy but not, and you just end up watching it for 8 hours straight and not realizing it.
I can't watch
And then you learn how to make Kung Pao chicken.
No, you don't. You don't learn anything from watching Food Network.
I just get really hungry.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, I'm hungry enough as it is.
Yeah. At work, a lot of people watch it in the break room, and I'm just sitting there going, now I want a cheeseburger. And all I can get is soup in a can.
Like, that
Dang
and
it.
the Travel Channel, when they start showing these destinations for food and whatnot, it's like 2 in the morning, I flip through and this awesome-looking roast beef sandwich is on the thing, or an awesome-looking, like, dish. I'm like, man, now I'm hungry.
And speaking of that, actually, you guys probably I don't know if I told you guys, but Elena's cousin owns a restaurant here by her,
Mm-hmm.
and they actually did appear on the Food Network once.
Nice.
They were on Diners, Dives, and Drives-In, or whatever that show is.
Diner Drives and Dives or something like that.
Yeah, and he went to their place, and he looked around, and they showed them all the stuff and everything.
That's cool. That guy is weird.
Which guy? The blonde dude?
Yeah.
The dude with the blonde tips.
My dad is a huge fan of that guy. Our friend Neil hates him with a passion, but my dad loves that guy, and we love watching Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives together. That's one of my favorite shows.
Apparently, his name is Guy Ferrari.
Yeah, it is. And he drives a Ferrari, doesn't he? Or a
He drives
convertible?
a
Yes.
Mustang also.
And it's for irony's sake.
Yeah. But it's just I have no problem with them. It's just he's just the most like. It's funny because if you saw him on the street and didn't need a show, you wouldn't pick him up as like the chef type, you know?
Yeah,
It's more like
like a washed up surfer dude or something.
he seems like, is he doing drugs?
Or,
That's what it
or a
seems
bro.
like.
He looks like a bro.
He does. He looks like a
Yeah.
And then he acts like one a little bit too, and then he starts eating food and he starts talking about all this really complex stuff, and it's like, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about, and he's into a good time.
But you know what it is though? You look at the Food Network, look at Travel, look at anything where it's like a show with chefs on it. Look at the male and the female chefs. Why are the male chefs the majority overweight and the female chefs are like purposely in shape almost? It's like, what's going on here?
Well, that's true, except for the guy that owns the Food Network, that whatever his name is with the glasses and bald and is a huge nerd, and also does the nerdy cooking show on Geek and Sundry, which you should watch.
Well, no,
I don't-
shouldn't. But
I
Yes, you
think
did.
that is probably due to the fact that
Guys like eating.
well, no, it's
Humans like eating.
it's the conflicting fact of a lot of people really trust fat guys, fat people in general when talking about food.
It's true.
Because believe me, we like the food. But at the same time, women on TV aren't allowed to be fat.
Well, I don't know about that when it comes to
It's
shows.
part of it. It is absolutely part of it. The producers were like,
I
we
think
can't have
it's-
fat chicks on this show.
Well, not
I
for
think
food
it's
shows.
I think it's
Even
also
for food
more,
shows. Even for
I think
food
it's
shows.
also I think it's also more like with women in shape, it makes the food seem more appealing. It's like, oh, if she's cooking this and she looks like that,
must be
then it
healthy.
must be okay to
Well,
eat.
yeah, but I mean,
And
I think there are
that-
plenty of the old fat grandma because old fat grandmas make the best food.
Yeah.
Did I lose you guys?
You
Yeah,
did for a
we
second.
lost each other for a while.
Sorry.
I think what it comes down to is it's a psychological thing, like you're saying. Like if someone in shape brings you food, it must be healthy. If someone fat brings you food, it must be delicious.
Let me tell you, if somebody in shape brought me something that's from the Heart Attack Grill, I'm gonna know it's not good for me.
That's
Let's-
true.
I
That's
have
a
smart.
smart person,
That's-
James.
I have the
Super
presence
smart.
of mind to know that deep fried tastes fantastic.
Hi,
yeah,
guys.
James, you're
Guys.
somewhere in the middle of deep fried.
Yeah.
It's gonna taste
Yeah.
fantastic, but it's not good.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yes.
I miss the old. He's probably dead by now, unfortunately. When I was growing up, there was this old guy on I forget what channel it was.
It was
before-
PBS, and you're talking about the Frugal Gourmet, right?
No, I don't know if I'm talking about the Frugal Gourmet. Was he
Was
the
it-
old tall guy?
With the kind of the white beard.
Maybe. What's his name though?
I forget, but if you're talking about that guy, he got taken off the air for pedophilia.
Listen, that has nothing to do with cooking.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to.
It was a great show, and then I found out he was like doing stuff with.
I need to make a quick comment. When Stark-Lord just said pedophilia, I don't know if it was just on my end or if everybody heard it, but there was like a huge audio glitch where like it paused and did like some Slender Man stuff, and he got the rest of the word, and I was like, how fitting.
That's kind
But
of fun.
there's always going to be like back in that. In those times, it was pedophilia or sexual harassment or something that took somebody off the show. But
Yeah.
just for the fact of how he presented cooking,
It was a great.
one of the best ways of people presenting cooking.
Yeah, he did a great job. Those were great cooking shows back in the day. It's the last time James and I tried to find the Games Workshop shop store in New York City.
Yeah, don't ever try to find your way to a store you've never been to before like that. We did a
Yeah.
bad job.
We
What
walked.
did you guys do to get lost?
We
well,
didn't.
There's two stores. There's two stores listed for New York City, so we went to one before the other, and it turns out the one we went to didn't exist anymore.
Yeah,
Ah.
it still was listed there, and we got to it, and it was just we don't even know what it was, but we walked for like I don't know, we walked for like 500 miles.
We
And-
walked for over 80 blocks. It was
and then we're hungry, so we went into this little like deli, and we got a Reuben sandwich that knew no bounds, and it was amazing.
If I still have my old phone, I had a picture of it. But neither of us finished it. I still haven't had a Reuben since then, and Reuben's one of my favorite sandwiches, and this was like 5 years ago.
Yeah,
Oh wow!
but it was so good. It was so good, and it was just wow.
There was so much corned beef corned beef and sauerkraut that you couldn't see the bread, but it was there.
Yep. And the thing is, we could have gotten it half or a full sandwich. Like, let's get the full sandwich. And we were really hungry because we walked.
They didn't offer us the half sandwich. They offered the ladies behind us the half sandwich after we got the full, and we're like, we could have gotten the half.
Yeah.
We would have
And-
taken it, but
No, because we need a full sandwich. But
who needs to have a sandwich? That's
Because you're
like,
a man.
But a full sandwich was like 2 pounds of meat with a pound of sauerkraut on 2 pieces of bread.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
That's a
it
lot
was
of
good.
sandwich.
It was good. It definitely was what we needed because we had to walk all those blocks back and then continue walking to the other store.
Yeah. And then we got there, and we were there for, what, like 10 minutes, and then we went home.
Yeah, basically.
I've never actually been to a Games Workshop store.
The one in New York City's in Greenwich. It's kind of tiny. I mean, Grimm is at least 3 times as big, but then again, Grimm's in, the suburbs, and the Games
Yeah,
Workshop
this is in
middle of the city.
And Grimm, and well, let's be honest, Grimm has already absorbed the comic book shop next to it, so it got bigger.
Which is kind of sad, because there's no comic book store over there anymore.
Yeah, the closest one to me is Fourth World now.
Wow, Fourth World is, like, nowhere near you.
Yeah.
That's a good store, though. I like
It is. I've been to Fourth World in years. One of my coworkers,
good one.
one of our coworkers, well, one of James and Matt's former coworkers, and one of my current ones again now. She was asking me for comic book stores, and I'm like, by you, there's nothing. You can go to like a Muck Time, and then I guess drive an extra hour to Fourth World.
Wait, who was it?
Edith?
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, and Fourth World's worth the drive. It's nice.
Yeah.
And they really will have stuff that you go, man, I didn't realize this wasn't burnt already.
Thankfully, it's actually interesting with that is I'm a big Captain Harlock fan.
Yes, you are.
And there was one series in 2000 called Cosmo Warrior Zero. And it was 6 DVDs, and I found all of them on the right stuff except for Volume 3.
Mm-hmm.
It was the only one I was missing. And I remembered Fourth World had one copy, like, 3-4 years ago. And I went back there, and they still had the copy that I saw there, and so I was able to complete the set.
That's cool. That's pretty funty.
Yeah, they don't really
So,
throw anything out, or they don't like put it in the stores. They just keep it there, and then they put
And they just
ridiculous
discount it.
sales on it.
Like,
Them and Grimm have like the best like ancient RPG collections I've ever seen.
yes,
Except
like
for,
it's actually
you know.
Fourth World is where I got half the tribe books for when I did the old school White Wolf
They
game.
have like they're where you get all your White Wolf stuff. Grimm is where I found a lot of second edition and first edition D&D stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or whatever you
I
call
got
first edition D&D. Is there a name for first edition D&D? Is it just D&D?
It's typically called AD&D.
Yeah, Advanced D&D.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of D&D, actually, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the Steam store front page, but
No.
there's a very interesting game up there right now for $19.99. Baldur's Gate is
No.
on
really?
Steam right now for $20.
That's
It's an
wonderful.
Baldur's Gate?
Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, no less.
Oh.
I have no idea what they enhanced about it, but I don't know if the Fearless Gamers have played Baldur's Gate, but this was one of those really awesome and influential PC games.
Yes.
Where basically you played through a Dungeons & Dragons campaign.
Yeah.
Like the whole game, the system was Dungeons and Dragons, except you pointed and clicked, and like your little dude moved around and started smacking dudes with his sword. And I'm excited.
They were pivotal games. I mean, they were really the first serious games to happen before Diablos and your Oblivions and all of that, you know?
Yeah,
Like, it's one of the earlier... I mean, obviously, mods are before it and stuff, but, you know, whatever.
It opened up the door to a lot of other role-playing games.
Yeah. We need more of those on the internet.
But failing that, I mean, not failing that, but aside from that, it also was a great way to be a gateway to understand D&D. Not
That's
so much
true.
like how to play it tabletop-wise, but what is this all about?
Yeah.
And it was a great thing for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because that's exciting.
That is very
when
interesting.
When I have a job again, I'll probably buy it.
Yeah. Sad news with gaming and internet and 40K. So
Uh-oh.
after THQ got, what was it, liquidated?
Yep.
Technically, no one picked up the 40K rights.
Actually, Relic Studios was picked
Relic
up by Sega.
was bought, but they specifically don't say that they picked up Relic and the stuff for Something of Heroes.
Yeah,
that
but
other
it's been
but they
stated
didn't pick
by
up the
people
40K
that-
one officially. It's not in the
It's,
listing.
well,
It's
the
just stated
thing
that
though
it's
is
saved.
Relic owns the rights to the Warhammer 40K franchise. So if you picked up Relic Studios, you
But-
picked up what Relic Studios was working
Didn't
on.
Relic also
It was
do
Vigil.
Darksiders?
Yeah,
Nobody
no,
picked up Vigil.
no, so another company
okay.
picked up Darksiders.
So we should
Good.
also, well, no one picked up Vigil, and Vigil has the other part of the 40K.
Right,
IP,
Vigil.
so.
Vigil had. Okay.
Yeah. Vigil. The one game that they announced with Vigil was a game called Crawler, which everyone is suspecting is the project name for Darksiders 3. But
Okay.
no, technically, because Relic Studios makes Dawn of War and they were already working on Dawn of War 3, Sega should now be owning the rights to that because they own Relic, who was making it.
Yeah, people have been saying that basically those games have been saved, these are games in trouble,
Okay.
and if I get the list. But, you know, whether it's officially, like, their rights or if it's just saved because now they'll pick it up again, who knows. But that's one of those games that were being made that was kind of like, not printing money, like not like the Wii was, but it was
nothing
it
prints
was
money
something
like
that
the
was
Wii.
guaranteed to give a profit, so
Yeah.
it's definitely okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like they said, because like when Dawn of War 2 Retribution came out, they already said, okay, we've got ideas for Dawn of War 3. It's not going to be like one of these things like, well, we bought you up. What games are you working on? Well, throw them all out. They're not going to do that.
Yeah, these are the games that they're going to continue. There are the one that was in actually the one that I cared about that was more of a jeopardy state was Darksiders because if you just look at sales-wise, while Darksiders 1 was a great game and was good, and I enjoyed it, and it did well, Dante's Inferno outsold it. And Dante's Inferno didn't get a sequel.
Dante's Inferno outsold that? That was not a good game.
Have you tried it? Because
it
actually was
enjoyable.
It was a fantastic game to play. It just had nothing to do with the Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm...
Yeah.
But speak of...
by the way, I'm very glad that apparently DMC is not selling quite as well as Devil May Cry 4 did. So hopefully...
Which is interesting.
Best case scenario, they kill the franchise.
Well, interesting enough with that is I did do a little bit more research because I was watching reviews on the game.
So was I, even though I don't play
And I was
the
confirmed that basically the villain is the same from the first game.
Yeah, Mundus. Yeah.
And
Mundus.
But from what I've been hearing, like, there's one guy that I listen to, and I kind of felt more okay with listening to his review because he opens it up with going, okay, for the record, Dante looks like crap in this game.
So you were watching
and
the Angry Joe review.
Yeah.
I like the
and
Angry
he was
Joe
saying
review.
that
I think
he was saying that the platforming and the game mechanics were great, and the story was pretty decent, especially if you're a big fan of They Live. But he said what really kills the game is the character design, the dialogue, and the characters themselves.
I disagree with the gameplay because I finally got around to playing the demo, and it was just hitting the same button over and over again. That's not gameplay.
Have you played modern games? That's pretty much the best you're gonna get.
I disagree. Like, I just finished Darksiders 2, and while you could get through it hitting the same button over and over, you were more effective, at least doing a few combos here and there.
Yeah, if you mash this one button 3 times and then mash the second button, you did a better attack. It's basically the way gaming is these days.
That doesn't make it good, though.
But good's relative in the scope of the era of gaming. So we can't really look back to the 90s when it's like, I don't even know how to move this guy. Because it's so, like,
the thing is, I'm not even comparing it to, like, SNES or, like, really earlier gaming when it's like, I know nothing. I'm comparing it to, hell, Devil May Cry 1, Devil May Cry 3, Devil May Cry 4, where if you were on easy mode, yeah, you could get through it smashing, the X button or whichever button at the time. But there was the option to go really robust and have a little bit more of a difficult time on a non-easy option, and have a really fun time putting together these ridiculous combos. That was the whole point of the franchise. By the time 4 came out, that was one of the major points of the franchise, and they've thrown that in the garbage.
Well, I think that kind of, like, for me, it kind of, like, just going, like, because this is all a matter of personal opinion, for me, that probably would work better for me, because I found, because I'm not that great with doing all these, like, crazy combos and such, I found that in the original Devil May Cry games, though I do love them to death, I was one of those guys who was just pressing the same button over and over again.
And that's fine.
And so possibly for me, the new DMC would probably more relate to me, making me feel more like the dude who used to play the original games and do all these crazy killer combos.
It makes it more accessible for you, as not a hardcore, awesome dude at the game.
Yes.
That's fine, but when you take a franchise that's been so complex, in-depth gameplay like that, and then you take that out and change everything else, why not just make a new franchise?
Well, that's the fault. That's not the fault of the mechanic. That's the fault of the developers. That's the same thing with Dead Space. Dead Space went from an awesome, like, horror type of survival action to just straight up Gears of War with aliens, basically. I mean,
yeah, and
it's a very common,
to a lesser extent.
It's a problem with the industry, is what it comes down to.
Yeah,
it's a very big common problem, espally when you switch developers.
Yeah, I think
like,
it's a problem
look at
with
Metroid Other M,
which was also done by Ninja.
Metroid is like Metroid is like Ninja Theory is very big on platforming.
Yeah,
and so when they take a game series that is not about platforming and turn it into a platforming game, there's gonna be a lot of that nostalgia lost.
But they also use
hold on.
garbage technology.
Metroid is a platformer game. The first 3 games are platformers.
Yeah.
But what Ninja Theory did is they made it like an action QuickTime game instead of a creepy, lonesome platform. They lost a lot of the feel by adding too many characters. They gave voice to things. It just wasn't... I mean, it's a fun game, I guess, the new Other M, but it's not Metroid.
Well,
That's all I can
but
think.
you're wrong, because it is Metroid now. It's just like Resident Evil 6 is what Resident Evil is now. That's just whatever they're taking with that name, and it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is now. That is Metroid now, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, you're right. But it's annoying because like Metroid and Castlevania like invented a style of games called Metroidvania gaming, and now Metroid doesn't do it.
That's a funny thing that you
that
you bring up something like that, because like with Castlevania was also a reboot, but that actually kind of was a reboot that I thought was just as good as the original.
It wasn't. I disagree. I loved Lords of Shadow, but it wasn't a Castlevania game. It was a Devil May Cry game. That's why I liked it.
Oh yeah.
it was the same thing as Darksiders. It took like Legend of Zelda, Devil May Cry, all the games I love, mashed them together. But it didn't take Castlevania. Castlevania was a horror platformer. And this was not a horror platformer.
But that's the realm it went with. Just like...
And you know what? The thing is, I think I'm more willing to accept it with something like Metroid and Castlevania, because Metroid and Castlevania started when the technology was so limited that all you could really do was make a platformer. Devil May Cry came out with the PS2. It's not like we've made these outrageous leaps and bounds where you have to suddenly change the way the game plays. In fact, they've taken a step back technologically. They're using an engine from like 10 years ago for DMC, and I think that's the problem I'm having with it, is that there's I can't see a reason why they've changed it as much as they have, other than Ninja Theory just not knowing what the hell they're doing.
I am
maybe
one person
price.
that feels that Ninja Theory changes things a lot.
Ninja Theory makes bad games, too.
I will say, though, they use an engine from 10 years ago because it's a 10-year-old system. I mean, it's a PS3. It's not exactly new. I mean, you can't use a new engine because it sucks, because it can't handle it.
Inferior to the engine from Devil May Cry 3.
That's true.
Like,
again, they were probably just trying to cut some corners.
Can't handle more than like 5 or 6 enemies on the screen at once.
The one thing that I felt was very upsetting with DMC was how you get the S rank is based more on the amount of damage you do and not how crazy your combo is.
Right. That was a whole thing. Is the triple S rank was you being able to utilize the combo system. And this, I've seen a video of a guy hitting a boss 5 times and getting triple S rank, and then on the 6th hit, the boss dies. And this is on the hardest mode of the game. And that's my problem with it. That right there is like what is pretty much my biggest problem.
Yeah, well, they did. They I guess they felt that the fact that Dante only is a one-hit wonder makes up for it.
Yeah, like you get hit once, you die in the hardest difficulty.
That doesn't make up for it, though. Cause
I know.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's just fine.
Die mode in the previous games.
I'm just saying that's probably Ninja Theory's ideas. Oh, it takes more hits to hit the enemy. It's okay, we'll make Dante a one-hit wonder, and that makes up for it. Is what their theory is. Their thought pattern to it was
harder because you're compensating for the difficulty. I hate Ninja Theory. I'm sorry, I can't stand Ninja Theory. I can't. Which is surprising because, like, I used to hear that Ninja Theory used to make really good games, and it seems like they kind of fell off the bandwagon. I've never heard a good review of one of their games.
I've heard a lot of people
talk... Did they do the Ninja Gaiden series?
No,
they didn't.
No? That's where my whole conception. That's where my whole conception comes from. I thought Ninja Theory was the creator of the Ninja Gaiden series.
No, Chronicles. I think
Ninja Theory did Kung Fu Chaos, Heavenly Sword, Enslaved, Odyssey to the West, and DMC. Those are like the big games.
Yeah, Odyssey to the West is often touted as one of the most racist video games of all time, and I think the only one that I've heard even remotely good things about was Enslaved, but I don't remember why.
No, that's Enslaved Odyssey to the West. It's all one game.
Oh. There's a game with a similar title that I've heard, but I've definitely heard Odyssey to the West is very much racist. And Heavenly Sword received awful reviews.
Oh, Heavenly Sword, I just saw that, and I was like, this game is so stupid.
Right, so that's Ninja Theory right there. Is that they really make bad games.
Yeah, I've never really played it. It's not the kind of game I enjoy.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, we're cutting out now. We should probably just end it here.
We're having some technological problems.
But before we go, I did spot a question on our YouTube channel.
Oh, man.
And this one has been up for a while, so I do apologize to the person that asked this question.
We have no answer.
The person was IronBear0023.
Okay.
And he asked, would we get into Flames of War?
I don't even know what that is.
It's a tabletop game in World War II using tiny, epic-sized minis.
It's a really cool game. Okay, I think I have a decent answer. It's a really cool game. It's got a great rule set. It looks really pretty. I have no interest in historical gaming. That's the only reason I don't play. Everyone I know loves it.
I thought you had a decent answer, Starklord.
Yeah, no, that is my decent answer. I'm not going to play it.
Oh.
But that's why I'm not going to play it. I think everything's great about it, except I can't get into historical games. I look at it and say, well, what would Rommel do? What would Patton do? And then it's I'm not really playing, I'm recreating, and it doesn't thrill me the same way as making stuff up on my own.
Well, even getting past that, it's you know how it's supposed to end.
Exactly. It's I know that this fight either can't happen realistically or how it's supposed to end, and it feels weird breaking the rules.
I guess.
For me, I'm not a big fan of that scale of mini, and so it's just which is really odd because I do BFG and they have models just as big, but they're fewer and far between.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it is the scale of the thing, and I have played one or two I have seen one or two games played, and I just can't get invested in the game.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem. The historical aspect's kind of odd for me because I like taking a break from reality, and but more so it's just the scale. I don't like that scale. If they were in the 28mm scale and everything, I'd pay a lot more attention to it. It would be for me. It would be cooler because I like the scale to be bigger.
The only problem with doing that game, because if you didn't know, it's in 15mm scale, and it's full-size battles, and you can't really do that quite right at 28mm on the level they're doing.
Yeah, it's just not for me.
Yeah. So unfortunately, doesn't look like we don't plan on playing the game anytime soon, but who knows the future? We can't predict that.
Yeah.
But at this current moment, we unfortunately have to say that no, we're not going to be getting into Flames of War.
Yeah, no. I mean, well, if something pops up on the newsreel and everything like that, well, of course, do our best.
Yeah, we'll
cover
address it. Yeah. But we probably won't be doing any battle reports or open boxes or anything like that.
No.
Really quick thing on a side, going back to Ninja Theory really quick, I did make a mistake because I checked. There is also a Team Ninja, and they're the ones that did Other M, not Ninja Theory. And Team Ninja's the guys that did Ninja Gaiden.
Okay, that's where I got
Team
my
Ninja,
confusion.
they're alright.
Though they do all the DOA games, which are funny.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna call it here.
Yep.
So, Starklord, wrap us up.
Okay, well, thanks you guys for listening. I don't know how to finish this because I forget how you end these, Matt.
Just say until next time, take care. God, I hate you so much.
I think you did it for us. Until next time, Fearless Gamers, take care.